Hey everybody, hope you're doing great. Want to just give you a little update. It's been I just been running around so much, I haven't been able to do as many videos. So I was just reading in Ecclesiastes today, and I thought about the seriousness of attending church. And of course, my favorite book, Ecclesiastes, chapter 5, starting in verse 1. I'll just cover the first 3 verses. Talks about false worship in verses 1 to 7, but I just want to cover the first 3 verses. It says this: guard your steps when you go into the house of God. To draw near to listen is better than to offer the sacrifice of fools, for they do not know that they are doing evil. It's pretty strong, verse 1. In other words, you go with the church, just as a cultural Christian, just to attend, because that's what you're done your whole life, or because you think it's the right way to be, or the just right thing to do. You gotta be careful. God doesn't want sacrifice that's false sacrifice. We'll talk about that in verse 2. He goes on to say, be not rash with your mouth, nor let your heart be hasty to utter a word before God, for God is in heaven and you are on earth. Therefore let your words be few. For a dream comes with much business, and fool's voice with many words. Now, I think it's very interesting here, chapter 5. Ecclesiastes, Solomon talks about, careless worship. Worship of God is a serious thing. I think we all have to be. We go fast today. We got social media. We got distractions, and I think that Solomon gives a serious warning about that. Let's make sure that when we go in, we do exactly what the worship pastor typically does in America, which is set our hearts to calmness and really clear our mind, so that our mind is focused on God, not on self or the things we got to do when we get out, or lunch or something like that. But I like it says in verse 2, basically Solomon is saying, do not make rash or ill-considered bargains with the Lord. If we're in a pickle, I just did a podcast on this. We do not want to make deals with God, because first of all, if you make them, you better carry through, or you're going to be held to the fire by God to do so, to keep your word. You don't play with God. And I think that was kind of similar to the title I gave to that. But, at the end of the day, we always have to be thoughtful as to words that we use when in God's presence, when we're in prayer, when we're in church. And I think the last verse 3, talked about our preoccupation. This is a tough one. We live in a stressful world. Man, we take work with us. Talked to my buddy James. We went up to Raleigh yesterday on a trip, and we were talking about that, just how I was pointing out that in the years past, how simple life is for some people in certain cultures. It doesn't mean it's all hunky-dory there, but how simple cultures without all the pressure, of making money or hitting the numbers, just makes for a real peaceful life. And so does that mean we all want to live exactly that way? No, not necessarily, but we live in a pressure cooker. We're comparing living in different cultures, expats versus the United States. I mean, we have more opportunity here. Christianity really is best situated here in the United States than it is anywhere else in the world. So we have a real responsibility to go into the house of the Lord, give proper worship, give a lot of attention to God's word, give our full heart and mind to the Lord. Listen, I'm not saying it's easy. We live in a very distracting world. So let's make sure today that we get into God's word, and we get into prayer with seriousness. And sometimes that's easier said than done, but let's make effort every day. And if we do that, we'll be okay. God will hang in there. He'll draw us near to him, and he'll provide. So that's my word for you today. Let's make sure we go out and do for God as well. That's a big thing. I think we talk a lot about serving God, about giving. Make sure we give of ourselves. Let's make sure we are serving others. Those are the things that really matter to God. Because at the end of the day, all the things we do to serve self, not going to matter. Things we buy, materialism, not going to matter. What's going to matter is what we've done for the Lord, what we've said in the truth of the Lord, for the love of others and God primarily. And everything flows from there. So God's blessings to you. Make it a great day. Let's stand strong for God. Let's order our words rightly. Let's have hearts to serve, and then let's go do. So God's blessings. Make it a great day. Love you guys.